Welcome again to your Life Nuggets. Today's nugget is Nugget 88. Today I want to share Tommy the Atheist's testimony, a true story with you. John Powell, a professor at Loyola University in Chicago, writes about a student in his Theology of Faith class named Tommy. Some 12 years ago, I stood watching my university students file into the classroom for our first session in the Theology of Faith. That was the day I first saw Tommy. My eyes and my mind both blinked. He was combing his long flaxen hair, which hung 6 inches below his shoulders. It was the first time I'd ever seen a boy with hair that long. I guess it was just coming into fashion then. I know in my mind that it isn't what's on your head, but what's in that counts. But on that day, I was unprepared and my emotions flipped. I immediately filed to Tommy under S for strange, very strange. Tommy turned out to be the atheist in residence in my Theology of Faith course. He constantly objected to, smirked at, or whined about the possibility of an unconditionally loving Father God. We lived with each other in relative peace for 1 semester, although I admit he was for me at times a serious pain in the back pew. When he came up at the end of the course to turn in his final exam, he asked in a cynical tone, "Professor, do you think I'll ever find God?" I decided instantly on a little shock therapy. "No," I said very emphatically. "Why not?" he responded. "I thought that was the product you were pushing." I let him get 5 steps from the classroom door and then called out, "Tommy, I don't think you'll ever find him, but I'm absolutely certain that he will find you." He shrugged a little and left my class and my life. I felt slightly disappointed at the thought that he had missed my clever line. "He will find you." At least I thought it was clever. Later, I heard that Tommy had graduated and I was duly grateful. Then a sad report came. I heard that Tommy had terminal cancer. Before I could search him out, he came to see me. When he walked into my office, his body was very badly wasted, and his long hair had fallen out as a result of chemotherapy. But his eyes were bright and his voice was firm, for the first time, I believe. "Tommy, I've thought about you so often. I hear you are sick," I blurted out. "Oh yes, Prof, I'm sick. I'm very sick. I've cancer in both lungs. It's just a matter of weeks." "Can you talk about it, Tom?" I asked. "Sure. What would you like to know?" he replied. "Can you perhaps tell me what's it like to be only 24 and dying?" "Well, Professor, it could be worse." "Like what?" "Well, like being 50 and having no values or ideals. Like being 50 and thinking that booze, seducing women, and making money are the real biggies in life." Again, I began to look through my mental file cabinet under S, where I had filed Tommy as strange. It seems as though everybody I try to reject by classification, God sends back into my life to educate me. "But what I really came to see you about," Tom said, "is something you said to me on the last day of class." "You remembered," I thought to myself. Tommy continued, "I asked you if you thought I would ever find God, and you said no, which surprised me. Then you said, 'But he will find you.' I thought about that a lot, even though my search for God was hardly intense at that time. My clever line made him thought about that a lot, I thought to myself. But when the doctors removed a lump from my groin and told me that it was malignant, that's when I got serious about locating God. And when the malignancy spread into my vital organs, I really began banging bloody fists against the bronze doors of heaven. But all in vain. God did not come out. In fact, nothing happened. Did you ever try anything for a long time with great effort and with no success? You get psychologically glutted, fed up with trying, and then you quit. Well, one day I woke up, and instead of throwing a few more futile appeals over that high brick wall to a God who may be or may not be there, I just quit. I decided that I didn't really care about God, about an afterlife, or anything like that. I decided to spend what time I had left doing something more profitable. I thought about you and your class, and I remembered something else you had said. The essential sadness is to go through life without loving, but it would be almost equally sad to go through life and leave this world without ever telling those you loved that you had loved them. So I began with the hardest one, my dad. He was reading the newspaper when I approached him. Dad? Yes, what? He asked without lowering the newspaper. Dad, I would like to talk with you. Well, talk. I mean, it's really important, Dad. The newspaper came down 3 slow inches. So what's it? Dad, I love you. I just wanted you to know that. Tom smiled at me and said it with obvious satisfaction, as though he felt a warm and secret joy flowing inside of him. The newspaper fluttered to the floor. Then my father did 2 things I could never remember him ever doing before. He cried and he hugged me. We talked all night, even though we had to go to work the next morning. It felt so good to be close to my father, to see his tears, to feel his hug, to hear him say that he loved me. It was a bit easier with my mother and my little brother. They cried with me too, and we hugged each other and started saying real nice things to each other. We shared the things we had been keeping secret for so many years. I was only sorry about one thing, that I had waited so long. Here I was, just beginning to open up to all the people I had actually been close to. Then one day, I turned around and God was there. He didn't come to me when I pleaded with him. I guess I was like an animal trainer holding out a hoop. Come on, jump through. Come on, I'll give you 3 days, 3 weeks. Apparently, God does things in his own way and at his own hour. But the important thing is that he was there. He found me. You were right. He found me even after I stopped looking for him. Wow, Tommy, I practically gasped. I think you are saying something very important and much more universal than you realize. To me, at least, you are saying that the surest way to find God is not to make him a private possession, a problem solver, or an instant consolation in time of need, but rather by opening to love. You know, the Apostle John said that. He said, God is love, and anyone who lives in love is living with God and God is living in him. Tom, could I ask you a favor? You know, when I had you in class, you were a real pain. But you can make it all up to me now. Would you come into my present Theology of Faith course and tell them what you have just told me? If I told them the same thing, it wouldn't be half as effective as if you were to tell it. Oh, I was ready for you, but I don't know if I'm ready for your class. Tom, just think about it. If and when you are ready, give me a call. In a few days, Tom called, said he was ready for the class, that he wanted to do that for God and for me. So we scheduled a date. However, he never made it. He had another appointment, far more important than the one with me and my class. Of course, his life was not really ended by his death. It only changed. He made a great step from faith into vision. He found a life far more beautiful than the eye of man has ever seen, or the ear of man has ever heard, or the mind of man has ever imagined. Before he died, we talked one last time. I'm not going to make it to your class, he said. I know, Tom. Will you tell them for me? Will you tell the whole world for me? I will, Tom. I will tell them. I'll do my best. So to all of you who have been kind enough to read the simple story about God's love, thank you for listening. And to you, Tommy, somewhere in the sunlit, verdant hills of heaven, I told them, Tommy, as best as I could. If this story means anything to you, please pass it on to a friend or two. It is a true story and not enhanced for publicity purposes. With thanks, Reverend John Powell, Professor at Loyola University in Chicago. For more inspiration, you're more than welcome to visit our Live Light Community Facebook page or our Live Light Community YouTube channel. Have a wonderful day, and know God is with you, and if you doubt it, He will surely find you. Be blessed. Love and regards, Shalom.